Hi everyone, welcome to episode 45, I believe, of This Disc is Great with Steve and Nate. We're creeping up on episode 50, that's kind of cool. Alright, so this week we have the Aviar X3. If you haven't been with us before, what we do on this show is we take new discs out, we throw them around a bunch, and then we show those throws to you and tell you how they fly, and you can see if you want to get one. This week's the Aviar X3. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Make sure you're commenting, interacting with us. We like talking to you guys, getting your questions, so ask us questions if you want. Just say funny things, things that make us laugh, might win stuff. We will give away both of the discs that we threw for the review. So both of these Aviar X3s, proto stamps, will be given away. Plus I'm going to give away this Bursty Suspect. Somebody who guesses the farthest backhand distance will win something, and just 2 random commenters who have good questions or comments will win stuff as well. Alright, so before we get into the disc, give people a couple more seconds to jump on here. Steve, we got all of Disc Member out now, I think?
I know that I'm not waiting on any more emails for them, so it seems like we got all 1,100 golf?
Well, 1,400 total.
Yeah, so 1,100 disc golf discs were packed up, shipped out.
A couple people have already started getting them. Just a word of warning, apparently the DGI codes were not properly activated. They should be within the next 30 minutes or so, but if you're trying to log on to DGI right now, you might be having problems, but Shushrik is fixing it, so it'll be done soon. Also, as you get your package, don't forget to post for the raffle. You need on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. What do they need to post with, Steve?
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You get your disc, you get anything else that came with the package, and then you say, dude, this is so awesome, check out my hashtag disc member, and then you are entered into a drawing to win just the coolest stuff that we get from Prodigy. I know we've got stuff.
We're still working on the details for Prodigy. We're trying to nail down exactly what we're getting, but it's probably going to be a basket and some bags and some other stuff. But make sure you tag the disc store at disc store and then hashtag disc member, and you are entered. Alright, so that's happening. One other thing that we want to talk about before we go too far, we got our our baskets back in stock. That happened a couple weeks ago. You can check those out on the website. I'm not sure how well you can tell back there, but that's red. We also have black ones. So we have red, yellow, and black baskets now, so you have a color choice. Check those out. They are $175 on the website or at discgolfbaskets.com. Alright, so... Oh yeah, we can't officially announce what disc it is yet, so it's super secret. I know, but I can't tell you. But it is a Discmania disc. It's got a sweet alien stamp on it, and you're getting a sweet Discmania towel and keychain. So some pretty cool Discmania stuff. It's going to be a pretty fun disc. I'm excited about it. But we will hopefully announce that in a week or two, depending on when Discmania tells me I can. Alright, so again, make sure you guys are commenting, asking questions, leaving funny comments, and somebody's going to win some stuff. Guess the farthest backhand, and you'll win the pink one. We'll give the pink one away to whoever guesses the farthest backhand. And then these two will go to just random comments, funny questions, things like that. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into it. Again, if you're joining us late, this is episode 45 of This Disc is Great with Steve and Nate. We review brand new discs. This week it's the Aviar X3. So Steve, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Aviar X3?
Alright, so this is the newest putt and approach disc from Innova. The numbers on it: speed of 3, glide of 2, turn of 0, and a fade of 3. Innova says it's an aggressive backhand and forehand throws are a breeze with the Aviar X3. Our most overstable Aviar model to date, the Aviar X3 is ideal for headwind upshots and drives. It has a similar grip and 3 series speed as the Aviar 3, but with more stability. So, just looking at it, I'm like, okay, I can see where they're getting that 0 because this is nice and flat. I've seen a couple that are puddled.
It's not even flat. These are pretty puddled.
These have some puddle to it where it's actually got a dip. Like it is not actually flat. It has gone below the rim, just meant for taking power and being able to fight wind. So I was really excited for these.
Yeah, it feels a lot like a Zone.
Yeah.
Zone is one of the Discraft holdouts in my bag. There's lots of people who throw those, and there's just not a lot of things that are quite like a Zone. Numbers-wise, those are the same numbers that, the Discraft. Actually, Discraft has put numbers on some of their discs now. We don't have them on the website yet, but the new titanium and ESP swirl zones have numbers on them, and these match it. So what I use my zone for is a lot of approach shots where I can put a little flex on it, and it fights out and crashes at the basket, or just when I need to throw something stable in the wind. Super solid, reliable disc, and we're hoping that that's what this flies like. So go ahead and get your comments in here, ask some questions. But we're going to take a look at the Aviar X3, and we'll see if it... zone's the best comparison. What are some other things we might compare it to?
It's definitely more overstable than anything from Prodigy, like the PA stuff. So the A stuff is kind of where I would start looking at it, where it's not yet a mid-range like a harp or
harps. I mean, it's close to a harp.
I would
it's
say
slower than a harp.
I would say, but so yeah, we're looking at just the most overstable thing that moves slow. So I guess we could say harp, probably A1 or A2. Then
probably closer, maybe like an A3. The A1 and A2 are real beefy. They're just.
I haven't thrown one in a long time, so that would make sense. But
the Suspect is kind of not. This is probably gonna be a straighter version of it, but pretty close. Kind of similar use disc. But yeah, let's check out some throws.
Please be me, please be me. Yes, I'm back in the lead, and as I always do, starting off with the big hyzer. This just lets honestly. If you haven't seen before, I throw with a lot of hyzer, but I do it consistently.
You also throw left-handed.
Yes.
So if that confuses some of our new watchers, he's left-handed. He's throwing the wrong direction. That's why his hyzer is fading to the right.
So that's just a really good starting point for me to know. Rip on it, and it doesn't flip up, but it's still getting out there. I'd say if I need to go much farther than like 250, I'd probably grab a mid. So that's an idea for 218, just big swooping hyzer.
Yeah, hard on a hyzer, that wasn't flipping up.
Nope.
Again, big swooping hyzer does what a big swooping hyzer should do. Again, 227, if I'm going any farther than that with a hyzer, I'm not throwing a putter. So just what I want it to do, holds that hyzer, spikes right on down, just like my zone would.
That's a lie. That was flat.
That wasn't flat, but it was a little flatter than I think Racer gave you credit for.
So this, I finally gave it some air, because with a slow disc that is overstable, it's kind of trying to sit down on you, especially with the Glider 2. This is not a very glidey disc. You pop it up, let it get out there, and then finally it's going to fade out on you. It's one of those discs where if I put it up high enough, I know I won't go long.
Yeah.
So small green, pop it up there, have it sit. I know it's not going to land. Oh,
getting ahead of yourself, Reeser.
That's
a little flatter.
Yeah, that's.
This was a windier day too, so that's what that little jump is for. But you're throwing into a headwind.
Oh, nice, same hat too, and pants. Coincidences.
So you threw that into a headwind, and it still didn't flip over. It might have held a little straighter for a little longer.
Yes. So the biggest thing when it comes to throwing something that you're like, I know I'm not going to turn this over. That's what this disc has been designed for, where you can put that power on it to get to where you need to go, and it's not flipping over. I've got so many putters where I ended up having to throw it just on an absolute hyzer, but then this disc, it's like, no, dude, trust me, and then she just goes. It was windy, so the fact that I gave Reeser a
nice little buzz cut there. You were pay attention. Steve was hunting with this disc. Like Reeser almost dies like 12 times.
He just kept standing in the landing zone. It was the design landing zone.
All right, so that's flat. So I'm throwing that hard and flat, and that's more camera angle than anything. That's just going straight, and then that's flexing out, falling and skipping. 246 again with an approach disc. That's what I'm looking for. But I'm able to throw it hard, flat, be able to trust it to go straight, and then fade on out. So exactly what I want that to do. Pretty solid. I could switch this out with the zone and not miss it too terrible much.
We got any good questions yet?
Oh, we'll get there. Let's do that at the
one
end.
or two?
Keep
At the
going
end?
through, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Trying to change up how we do the show. Come on.
We did it last week.
Here's one.
I don't know why Reeser's running out there in the field.
yeah.
Just, he's like asking to be hit.
This was his second time out with us in the field.
He's like jogging around like as a target. Like I would throw at him too. Like,
I was trying to mark the other disc.
Nice. That was just an average hyzer. Basically, like
the throw wasn't that great. It's in there because you almost hit Reeser.
All right.
Let's be honest. We can move on.
Yeah, it was a little low.
It was tracking though. I think subconsciously you were aiming at him and you almost hit him.
That's fun.
All right, again, this is the day with a lot of headwind, so I was a little worried that maybe that would show it flipping over. Not at all. Just a tiny bit of hyzer, flat, goes straight, reliably fades out, right at about 250. Exactly what I want out of that. I think we got a couple more that are a little flatter, Annie. All right, yeah, this is what I really want to do. These are the kind of shots that I like throwing with my zones. Throw that little bit of Annie on it, let it flatten out, and then crash. So that's really Annie. Well, not really. It's about where I'd put it. Grip locked it just a little bit, but it tracks, flattens out, and it's hyzering out at the end. That's the exact kind of shots I throw with my zone, exactly the way I want them to fly. And 286 out of this disc is a pretty decent pump. So if you work it over, you can get some distance out of it. But that's the exact counter approach shot I wanted. Maybe just a touch more fade would have been ideal, but I have to find the super puddle top max weight zones to even get that. So again, we are throwing max weight 175. So we try to keep it as consistent as possible between the episodes. But yeah, that's again the kind of shots that I'm looking for with this kind of a disc. Honestly, this disc is what I wanted the Aviar 3 to be. When the Aviar 3 came out, I thought it was going to be this, and it wasn't, and now it is. This is what I wanted it to be. So if you've been looking for a zone replacement, you might have just found it.
you can now switch to Innova.
Is that all the backhands, or we got one more? All right, all the backhands. So on to forehand.
So I've bagged the Star Aviar. So when I picked this up and was like, all right, let's try to do what I used it for, which was my flick up shot. So this one I actually got on it because usually my Star Aviar I'd go like 150, 200. To go past that on a hyzer and not have it turn over all the way, I was like, dude, this is super solid. So that's a huge forehand flick with a putter for me.
Yeah. Go back in and run that back again real quick, since we have that capability. Oh, we can't see your hand. I think the way that flips up, you probably rolled your wrist a little bit, just knowing the disc. But even so, it comes back and fights out of that.
Yeah.
So on a full power flick with a putter, if it's fighting out of it at the end, that's some pretty reliable stability. All right, and I think this was
This
previewed.
is a flick.
I like how he ducked like
Way
a
early.
full second before he got anywhere close. But this throw is in the wind, that super windy day, and both of our flicks are a little suspect in the wind, pun intended. They're a little suspect in the wind, but you threw that flat, it held up to it and faded out. Super solid and reliable. That's what you want out of that flick.
No, that did almost hit me.
It did, but it almost hit you now. You got is there a FedEx Express package somewhere over there,
yeah.
Reeser?
I'm sure there is.
But yeah, so that's exactly what we're kind of looking for out of the sidearm for this disc. We want to be able to sidearm that. You can walk right on through.
That's all good. That's all good.
We are a functioning business
Yeah.
right now. We kind of set up in the store, so we got people coming in and out. But yeah, so that's a really solid sidearm disc. I'm not bombing this for distance or anything on a sidearm. But this can be your workhorse approach disc that 200 to 250 range, both sidearm and backhand. Cool, our video guy's back. Let's go ahead and get on to the next clip.
Oh, you want to make sure you check me hit again?
Oh, why not? We can watch that a couple more times.
My bad.
Oh, you're fine. Go right ahead.
How's it going?
See you, FedEx.
All right, nice and solid. Reeser didn't die. We'll try again next week. All right, so this again is that super windy day, and that's a pretty full pull on a sidearm. As much as I'm willing to give a putter, pretty flat. I'm throwing that flat into that headwind. It wobbles a little bit. That's kind of where my flick is a little wobbly in general, and so the wind kind of affected it a little more. But I thought it was going to turn and burn on me. I thought I'd done it, but nope, faded out at the end. And again, 230 out of an approach disc. Calm down, Reeser. Calm down. 230 out of an approach disc flick. Anything more than that, I'm grabbing a felon anyway.
Order your justice.
I don't like flicking my justice for some reason. What was that? What just happened there?
That's a backhand stand.
Oh, okay. So since this is an approach disc, we wanted to show a little bit of what it looks like throwing on a standstill approach type shots. So that didn't get a good. Why did I put that one in there? That's a bad throw. Yeah, let's just move on. That was ugly. All right, so standstill kind of shot. This is the shot I use my zone for. That standstill, a little bit of ante. That gets kind of high in the wind. The wind kind of picked that up, but still, on an angle into a headwind, it's fighting out of it and finishing reliably. And 220 on a shot like that, that's every bit of what I need. Again, that same kind of approach style flick, flat and hard, let it go straight, fade out, reliable, super simple, super easy. Performs really well with a little less power on it. But yeah, so Steve, what are your thoughts on the Aviar X3? What about the numbers? How do we feel about the numbers?
I think the numbers are spot on. Even it being throwing with a head or tailwind, the glide really just seemed like a 2, where
Yep.
it really felt like it was cutting through it. It was quite astonishing, actually, because it would hold up, but it wouldn't get like completely raised. Like a higher glide disc would have been. You'd see just a whole bunch more movement than we really had. It was more of just kind of a wobble, a quick bounce kind of reaction. But 3 fade, totally.
Yep.
Totally.
It's a really solid overstable approach disc. I mean, one of the local guys came in and got one and tried it out, and he's an avid zone thrower, has been throwing them for a long time. When he got out to the course, he was throwing it, and he actually texted me and was like, hey, grab any max weight ones and save them for me. I'm going to come back and get them after my round. So this kind of fit that spot for him. It's really reliable. It's exactly what they wanted it to be. I know all of Innova's pros are loving it. Coling's throwing one. I think Macbeth is throwing one. Really reliable approach disc, super great. Can do those forehand and those backhand shots. Kind of fits a hole that they didn't really have a good disc for, honestly. It's a great addition to Innova's lineup. Super solid disc. Does what it's supposed to do. All right, Evan, do we have a winner for the backhand distance? Do you have that?
The closest, let's see, the farthest backhand throw was Nate at 286. And the closest without going over was Naomi Downs.
So Naomi Downs, you have won the pink Aviar X3 for your closest without going over guess. We changed the Price is Right rules all of a sudden. That'll work. All right, let's go ahead and get through. Let's get some questions in here. Sure. I saw a good one from our good friend John McAtee. He said, Steve, I don't know why I addressed you specifically, but fine. Steve, I need a disc that's a longer version of a Saint Pro. So the numbers on a Saint Pro are like 9403, something like that. So if you wanted a longer Saint Pro, what are some good options for him?
I would say the T-Bird 3 is
that's
9.4.
slower.
He said longer.
Yeah, he wants something to go farther.
Yeah, so you
why are
go
you
less.
slower?
You go less overstable.
Nah, you go faster.
Well,
Those are going to fly almost exactly the same. I would go something like a Fortress would be a little bit longer option. If you want to go a lot longer, you're talking Ballista Pro, but that's a lot faster. That's 14. Maybe something like, I'm trying to think of something in that same line, because you could go Destroyer.
Sword.
Sword's not quite as overstable. They're a little straighter and flippier than I
Well,
wanted
you said
them to be.
longer, so.
Yeah. But a longer St. Pro, I mean, yeah, Fortress, Ballista, somewhere in those. 10503 Orc would be another option that's similar. All right, were you see any good questions in there?
Yeah. What is the depth of the rim on the Aviar X3?
Did you have a good? Can you see a good shot of it on your hand model
Yeah.
footage earlier? I mean, it's roughly the same depth as an Aviar. It's really they took the Aviar. So the Aviar is just a normal putter. The Aviar 3 they made it a flat top, and the Aviar X3 they made it a puddle top. Otherwise, it's the same mold as far as I'm pretty sure they're all the exact same mold. So it's going to have a similar depth to the Aviar. Other than that, it might be just a touch. It might feel a touch shallower because of the puddle topness, but it's not super. It's an average putter, not super shallow, not super deep.
Dude, we could be scientific and say it's like 2 pens thick.
Or my first knuckle, like something
Yeah,
like
but
that.
this is a like average thing when no one actually seen your hands to
That's
say.
true.
Daniel Moore wants to know, how is it compared to a slammer? How does it feel?
Doesn't the
It's been almost
slammer
a
have
year
the
since-
track?
The slammer has a thumb track, so that's one comparison. I think the slammer is probably just a tick more overstable.
I would agree.
Not a lot, but just a little bit.
I don't remember us throwing it 285 either.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go look. For me, it's a little more sidearm. It feels more comfortable in a hand than a slammer, honestly. Backhand, it's pretty similar. Again, probably just I mean, to be fair, we had one throw with this that was 285, and the rest are like 240. So they're probably going to be. They would fill similar slots in your bag. You probably have no reason to bag both of them.
Well, all right. Dylan Frick wants to know, what putters are you guys using and how many of each and weights?
I've got 2 max weight P-line P2s, and then for tailwind putts, long tailwind putts, I've got a max weight Prime Warden, and then for kind of overstable approach shots, I have a max weight 174 PA1 300 plastic.
My go-to putters are my Electron Soft Pilots. Both of them are max weight. Well, I guess one's 172, but it was the heaviest one that we had.
Yeah.
So, and they match. They're matching, so I
Gotta
was
match.
okay with that. Yeah, I like having matching putters for a standpoint of I can't, it's the black one's fault, so I'm going to switch to the blue one. I have 2 identical putters. I can't mentally psych myself out.
So you can feel it.
Yeah. Until they get some gouges in them, that I can tell. Then I have a Fusion Judge for some straight approach shots, and a Classic Judge for my jump putts and longer putts. And then technically zones or putters, so I carry a couple of those for my approaches.
Skip Osler wants to know, could you explain what a puddle top is again?
So puddle top and pop top are 2 terms that you're going to hear a lot. So you want to see if there's a destroyer over there that's got a good pop top on it? I think there are a couple. So there's just that's referring to the flight plate of the disc. A puddle top is something that's concave, so it dips down from the edge, and so it's called a puddle top because it would hold water if you poured water on it, so it would make a puddle. And then, why don't you show them what pop top means?
All right. So let's see where I can get to. So if you can see, I'm trying to hold the disc flat to the camera, and you can see that the top of it is raised. So this is a bit of a pop, but the biggest thing is, so I'm going to press just inside the rim on the top, and the middle depresses. And if we had if there's certain ones where you get it good and it just you can just hear it go pop up, pop up, pop up. We call it a heartbeat on when there's some crazy ones.
So these tenacities, or not tenacities, tantrums. These are coming up in a couple weeks. But these I'm gonna get up here by the
microphone.
mic.
Yeah.
So that's why it's called a pop top, because it's popping.
Let's show the camera how you're doing that too.
Yeah, so makes a heartbeat noise. So that's what it refers to, pop top and puddle top. Generally, pop toppiness will add a little bit of glide, but it'll also add a little bit of low speed stability because it's not as aerodynamic. Flat tops or puddle tops tend to kill some glide because you can't get as much air underneath of it, which then will make it slightly more overstable because it's fading out sooner because it doesn't have as much glide. So like flat top Firebirds are the ones that people are looking for because they're the most wicked overstable ones. Pop top Destroyers are the ones that people are looking for because they have the most glide. There's different reasons why you'd want different things for both. I like the puddle top zones because they're the most overstable because they have less glide. So the same thing with these Aviar X3s.
Ozzy wants to know if we still have the proto stamp or first run stamp Aviar X3s.
I think there's probably 2 over on
We
the shelf there.
do. I don't
There's
think
like
their
one.
max weight is the
They're
only.
light.
Yeah.
They're pretty light.
Max weight stuff gets bought quickly just because mostly that's what people buying a proto stamp are looking for,
Yeah,
especially if they're trying it out.
and
Yeah.
collectors. Max weights go for more money. There are 3. They're white and they're 167, 168. So if you go on the website right now, the link that Reeser posted earlier, they are on there. The white ones are all Protostar stamp. All right, we need to give a couple things away. So Reeser, whatever question you ask me next is who's going to win something.
Oh, okay.
The suspect. The next question you ask me wins this suspect.
Okay. Nathan Gardner, he was asking who makes the Maverick.
We can talk about that. The Maverick is a Dynamic Discs new release that just came. Well, the first run's just released on Friday? Or was that a week ago already? That was Friday.
Last week, yeah.
The SEs.
No, the first runs. Disc member messes with my timing.
Yeah.
Feels like it's been 2 weeks since then. But they are. Why don't you grab one off the shelf? We can show that off. Grab a Captain too.
I got Captain right here.
The Maverick and the Captain are 2 new dynamic disc releases that I'm really excited to film. I want to see how they fly. You can hold on to it.
Yes.
Someone was asking if we'd thrown a Maverick. I saw that earlier.
You did.
I threw it a couple times when we were filming these other discs, and I want to try out a Lucid one, and I like it a lot.
He would have liked it even more on his very first throw had he been about 6 inches lower.
Yeah, 6
It was
inches lower.
it was
or less.
right over the top.
I almost days told one at Seymour with it. It's a little flippy.
Yeah.
So I was throwing out a hyzer flip, but it's got enough stability at the end that it does finish out and doesn't turn all the way over unless I really want it to. I'm excited to throw it a little more and show you guys how it flies. I think this is going to fill the understable fairway driver hole that I have in my bag right now. Captain, the only time I've thrown the Captain was the SE burst ones, which tend to be flippier in a pretty decent headwind, so it was too flippy for me to really get a good read on. I'm thinking these Opto ones might be really close to Shrikes, and they might be a lot of fun to throw. So we've got that. So we have a lot of stuff to film. So we want to know what you guys want to see. So till the end of the video, you can give us a comment on the things you want us to see next. We have the Captain, we have the Maverick, we have the Sting from Discraft, we have the Vulture from Discraft, we have the Prodigy H1 V2, H3 V2, and H5. What else do we have?
What did Nathan win?
He won the suspect.
Nathan
So
won.
yeah, Nathan's winning suspect. Steve, what else is in that bag of stuff to throw? What else has
The
come out?
MVP stuff.
Oh!
The Axiom.
We have the Axiom Tantrum. I think that was the only new one that MVP had. We
did CD3.
we've done the CD3, we've done the PDX. The Ballista Pro is next week. There are a couple other things in that bag that I can't remember what they are right now. Oh, the Innova Rat. That's in there.
Yeah.
So we have the Innova Rat, the Discraft Sting, the Discraft Vulture, the Prodigy H1 V2, 3 V2, and 5. I'm forgetting them all, there's so many. The Maverick and the Captain. So any of those that you guys want to see, you guys let us know, and we'll try to prioritize those. I'm pretty excited with the Maverick, so that's probably going to be pretty soon. We're going to try to get out tomorrow and do a lot of filming. All right, let's ask a couple more questions before we get out of here.
I think I'm out.
All right, let's see if I can't see anything in here. Frank Reynolds asked, so it's a good thing to throw a tantrum? Well, we'll see.
I bombed.
We'll see.
I had a good one, so I hope we recorded it.
Frank Reynolds also asked, I putt with Yeti Pro Aviars. How does it compare to a Yeti?
Well, the Yeti has more glide because of the mold, but you're going to kind of see the same idea where it's not going to drift from one side to the. It's more of.
It's pretty straight.
It's puddle topping is really straightening out, and that Yeti does have quite a significant puddle top. So if you ever watch Yeti putt, he just like pumps it straight up and then it comes straight back down. There's no left to right in that putt.
It's a lot more overstable. I'm not really sure why, because it's got the same. I think they're right above your head, or is that the JKs?
The
Yetis are over there.
Yeah.
But they're both pretty concave. I used to putt with the Yetis back in the day, and it's beaded. Usually a bead makes it more stable, so it's kind of odd that they're straighter than the Aviar 3. So they feel a little different. They're squishier, obviously, because the Yeti Pro plastic. The Pro. But they're not super similar as far as that goes. That's a good question. No one's asked this, but would you putt with these? How would you feel about putting with these?
I've played in rounds where basically every basket ends up being in.
Yes or no? Would you putt with these? And
No.
There you go.
Not my style putting.
But yeah, you're not usually putting with something that's overstable. But if you got that little like anti-putt that Yuli does, maybe. All right, so we still need to give something away. Why don't you do some random scrolling and pick me in there? Yep.
Comments. Right. Scroll.
While you're doing that, Kyle Forrest asks, is a putter a good place to start roller-wise? I would generally say no, because they're got the wider rim, so they're going to slow down really fast for you, and you usually want something with a nice sharp edge to get better roller distance.
The winner of which one?
It's the blue Aviar X3.
I've randomly picked a comment, and it looks like Trevor Luna is the winner.
Trevor's one of our oldest fans, so nice that he finally got himself another win after a while. Good to see you guys. All right, guys, make sure you check out the Aviar X3. I've got a few left on the site. We'll get more up there soon. It's super great approach disc. We like this disc a lot. Check out Dismember and check out our new baskets. And we will see you guys next week with the Ballista Pro.
Thanks, y'all.